Carpal tunnel syndrome is associated with lateral epicondylitis. This is a tremendously important statement in clinical hand surgery, and it's not really in the literature. The chronic long-standing carpal tunnel syndrome will produce lateral epicondylitis, and very often we'll see a patient who comes in having had injections of cortisone, wearing straps, arm wraps, limitation of activity or duty for long periods of time for the lateral epicondylitis. And the carpal tunnel goes missing because the pain component in that particular patient overrides the carpal tunnel syndrome. What happens? Why does lateral epicondylitis form in almost every any major long-standing carpal tunnel syndrome? Not every, but significant numbers. The problem lies in the anatomy at the flexor retinaculum. The median nerve lies on the volar surface, or on the most volar surface in the tunnel. If this is the flexor retinaculum across my hand like this, the nerve is lying right on its volar surface. If we turn it over, the nerve is lying on the volar, right on the back surface, which is the dorsal surface of the retinaculum, if you will, the most volar structure in the tunnel. Behind it lie 9 tendons, flexor to the thumb and 2 to each one of the fingers. And if you flex the wrist with that configuration, the tendons compress that median nerve against the back surface of the flexor retinaculum. This is what happens in the nighttime component of carpal tunnel syndrome. You sleep with the wrist flexed, and you wake because the hand goes numb, creating ischemia in the nerve. So it's that flexed position that produces the symptoms, knocks the nerve out. If we extend the wrist, we create a situation where the tendons now, the vector of force, if you will, from all those tendons is now directed dorsally. And the median nerve, which lies in front of them, is now relieved of that pressure. It's no longer compressed against the surface of the retinaculum. So that creates a situation where dorsiflexion relieves the pressure on the nerve, and most of our wrist fixed positioning, which is flexion for activities and buttons and everything else we do, is flexion. And what the subconscious does is produce a situation where it maintains slight wrist extension in a bad carpal tunnel almost all the time. So when the patient's walking, eating, driving, or any activity, the subconscious keeps just a modicum of extension. Not even, people don't walk around with their hands cocked back, but it only takes getting off the slight flexion position. So getting to neutral or slight extension. And what that does is put a chronic load on the Sharpie fibers and fascia at the lateral epicondyle. And that constant tendency for the subconscious to maintain a slight dorsiflexion position of the wrist to create a situation where the nerve is not under compression and pressure is why carpal tunnel syndromes develop lateral epicondylitis. And if you see a patient with lateral epicondylitis that is a long-standing difficult problem, at least look for carpal tunnel. When you have advanced or significant carpal tunnel syndrome, at least check and see if they have tenderness volar to the flexor retinaculum, a positive wrist extension maneuver, make a fist and hold it back as hard as you can. They'll have pain if you load the extensors. If you take and flex the elbow, take the hand and have them turn palm down, that mostly loads the medial epicondyle. But when the patient supinates, turn your hand palm up against resistance, that loads the lateral epicondylitis and will be significantly symptomatic. So lateral epicondylitis is a common accompaniment of carpal tunnel syndrome. Thank you. The key to treatment when lateral epicondylitis accompanies carpal tunnel syndrome is surgery just on the carpal tunnel. The lateral epicondylitis will clear of itself in 1 to 2 months.